What is up, people? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for another video. Actually, not a video, more like a podcast. I'm just so used to say that. But yeah, like I said in my Berkeley Captain video, I think I said that I would do my top 32 because everybody who answered when I asked a question, if you want to see the ranking, said yes to having it. So I was going to do it, but I was going to do it in a podcast style because putting together a video with 32 players and the way I just keep talking all the time and stuff like that, it was going to be so long that I thought that I would just give my top 32 just like that with no highlights, no stats or stuff like that. So it's going to be much different than what I do, but I think it's a good way to supplement my video in the sense that I can make very deep scouting reports on YouTube in a video form. But when there's players that I want to talk about, or when I want to do a top 32 like that, something like that, and I don't have a lot of time to make a video about it, I can just supplement the videos with podcast style things like what I'm doing right now. So yeah, we'll see where this goes. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but we'll see. All right. Obviously, it's going to be much slower. Like I said, it's more like a conversation, and English isn't my first language. So I have to go off the top of my head. So I'm gonna try to speak a good English, but there might be some problems sometime where I lag a little bit, but it is the way that it is. And yeah, so I guess let's get this started right away. And at number 32, we're gonna start with Charlie Elick. From number 25 to number 32, I gotta say that those players, not all of them, but it was hard to find players that were first round worthy, in my opinion. Like Charlie Elick is at number 32 because he's the 32nd player that I like the most, I would say. But I wouldn't draft him in the first round if I had to draft. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but it's just that he is in the first round because I have to put 32 players. But in the end, I don't think he's first round worthy. He's a little bit all over the place. Yeah, okay. So he's a 6'3" defenseman. He's a right shot. He's good defensively. He has a clean breakout, but you can forget offense. There's nothing there. When he sets up in the offensive zone, he doesn't walk the line, doesn't try to find lanes. He just redistribute the puck to the nearest player and make sure the puck goes on his stick, and that's it. That's all he does. So I wouldn't expect any kind of production out of him. But outside of that, defensively, he's pretty good. He's also very physical. He skates really well for a guy of his size. And when I say really well, I mean like really, really well. He's not an elite skater by any means, but he's a good skater that has a big body and that is very physical. So obviously GMs like that kind of player. I like them too, actually. But I like them when they have a little bit more skill. Like where they can, I don't know, have some hands, have some passing skills, some vision. And it's also the fact that even though he's good defensively, sometimes he's lost. Like, or not necessarily lost, but it's more like he's stressed. If you apply pressure to him, even though he has the skating to escape the pressure, he often's gonna rush his decision making. So it's gonna lead to a bad pass or a turnover in his own zone. And obviously, that's not something that you want, but it's something that you can learn through a lot of repetition. So we'll see how it goes with him. But yeah, number 32, Charlie Elick, 6'3", right shot defenseman. I think it's perfectly fine there. All right. So at number 31. Yeah, okay. Sorry, because I'm trying to find in my list. I'm just on 2 pages at the same time. I set up like 3 screens so I can see my stuff, my bullet points, and all the thing that I have to say. All right, so number 31, I have Cole Hutson. What a drop. Before the season, I made like a preliminary, is that how you say that? Preliminary top 10. And he was in it. I also said that I expect him to have a historic season. And yeah, hasn't worked out that way, I think. He's not bad because he's still in the how can I say, he's still in the first round, and he could be a lot better than number 31. The thing is just, I don't see in him right now what I've seen in his brother, and I had him much higher. I had him in my top 15 back when Lane Hutson was drafted. Cole Hutson, I can't say that for now. I'm just not sure how it's gonna go, and I'm happy that there's still half a season to be played, so we can see like is he going to become more dominant offensively? Is he going to like clean up his decision making defensively? We're going to see, but he plays a little bit like his brother in the sense that he likes to shake and bake, shake and bake, but he likes to shake players and send all kinds of misdirections and to fool players. And he's a better skater than his brother, so he's better at fooling player and then jumping into space to create passing lanes or to shooting lanes that way. But I don't think he has the same soft skills in the sense. I don't think he has the same hands and the same passing skills or the same vision that his brother has. It's still very good, but he's still a 5'10" defenseman that doesn't defend really well, but has a lot of offensive skills, if you like good passer, good skater, can jump into space really well. But that's about what I can say about him for now, because yeah, he's so. We're gonna see how it goes. But number 31, Cole Hutson, small defenseman, left shot. We'll see where it goes. All right, number 30, I have Tanner Howe, and I think it's too low. He's one of the guys that I have from 25 to 32 that I said they don't deserve a first round like spot. He's one of them that deserved the first round spot. I didn't know where it was going to go this season when Bedard left. Obviously, he had a major production last season, and but he kept it. So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to know if he was going to be able to produce offensively, even though Bedard was not going to be there on his side to help him produce. But yeah, he's been really good offensively. He's still there with production. He's on par with players like Brendan Yager and Jaeger Furcus. Wasn't great in pretty much any international tournament, but he's doing very well in WHL. He's not the biggest player around at around like 5'11", but he's a very good skater. He's not like a high-end skater, but I would say he's at least above average. So 5'11" with above average skater, I think it's fine. He's also a very, very competitive player, probably one of the most competitive player in the draft. He works hard defensively, works hard offensively, works hard on transition. He works hard everywhere that he goes. He goes into battle in the corners. He goes into battle on the board. He tracks back, he back checks, he applies pressure from the back on players. He's everywhere on the ice. So when you have that type of skill, it's not like he has dynamic skills, but he creates a lot with the way that he plays. And he also have high-end competitiveness in his game. So yeah, I think that's a player that deserves a spot at number 30. And yeah, that's it. So Tanner Howe, number 30. Let's jump to number 29, and that's Sahlin Wellenius. And Wellenius is a more offensively inclined defenseman than the other way around, I would say. Offensively, can make things happen using his very, very good skating. He walks the line super smoothly, as smooth as it gets. And he likes to join the rush or even lead the rush sometimes when on the breakout, and I mean more on the transition. He's also like a dual threat offensively. He's a precise and creative passer, but he also has a pretty good shot. Not that it's powerful or anything like that, but he's good at walking the line, finding space, and shoot quickly and get the puck through the defenders and through his team so it gets on net. As he sometimes also go down in the zone or go down in the high slot to get a shot there. So yeah, I say a pretty good shooter. He's a bit on the flashy side, and I think he would gain from like keeping things a little bit more simple sometime. But like I said, offensively, he can open lanes with his skating, and he has also pretty good puck handling, so that helps him a lot, like creating a like misdirection. Defensively, like I said, it's more difficult. He's a capable rush defender because he has good skating, so he can actually track back. He can match attacker speed and just block them before they get to his blue line. But once they've crossed the blue line and once they establish themselves in the defensive zone, it's more difficult, I would say. It's not easy. He can't break up what has been established in his zone. He can't box out player. And yeah, he's a little bit all over the place, but those are things that can be coached. So I don't think it's that much of an issue. And most defenders at 17 or 18 years old in their draft year, they have a weakness somewhere, right? Unless you're a player like Dickinson, but there's a reason why Dickinson is like in the top 5 for most people is because he does everything smoothly. And while yes, he can play the offensive side pretty good, but the defensive side is a work in progress. So that's why he's more towards the end or even in the second round for a lot of people too. All right. So yeah, little Sahlin Wellenius at number 29. And at number 28, I have Henry Mews. And Mews is another guy that's offensively inclined more than defensively. He's a right shot defenseman, and if I'm not mistaken, he's 6 foot. Yeah, okay, yeah. So he's a 6 foot defenseman. He's a right shot. He's more offensively inclined, like I said. I've seen games where it goes both ways. Like I've seen him making stops and activating from the blue line with clean breakouts. And I've seen games where he was a little bit all over the place in all 3 zones, forcing plays, couldn't defend the rush, got passed by, barely used his stick, just like chaos all over. So if he's anything close to the first version of the Henry Mews that I've seen, he deserves a spot in the first round, and he deserves a spot to be higher than that. If he's anything close to the second one, then yeah, I wouldn't take him in the first round at all. So it depends which one you're getting, but when he's on, he's really on. Production has been really good. It's in line with players like, I think, Rasmus Anderson or Cody Cici. That's less good. He's been using his skating to his advantage to create offense and clean breakouts from the back end. He's not the best skater defensively, but he's good offensively. Like, he can move forward and he's very agile on his skate. But when it comes to defensive skating, like matching attacker speed or trying to not get stuck in his own feet when they're using crossover to fool him over a little bit, it's not working that great. He's not a great defender against the rush. He's not a great defender in zone or against a cycle. He doesn't win a lot of battles on the board. From what I've seen defensively, it's a big work in progress, and it's a big question mark. So we'll see where that goes. But when you take his game offensively, and the fact that he's 6 foot and he can produce this much, it's gonna help him to maybe make his place in the NHL. But so yeah, he has more potential on the offensive side than the defensive side, and I'm not sure the offensive side is good enough to warrant the defensive side. Yeah, am I being clear? I'm not sure if what I said meant anything, but yeah, that's it. All right, Henry Mews, number 28. And at number 27, I have Terik Parascak. He's one of those guys that just came out of nowhere. Like, he was in high school, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Yeah, exactly. When I go on Elite Prospect, it says high school. He's still 17 years old, so he's pretty young, and he's 5'11". He's a right wing, right shot player. In terms of offense, a lot of people have been saying that all his offense come from Riley Heidt or Zimmer. I've seen that so many times, but the thing is that he doesn't even play with them outside of the power play, at least in the games that I've seen. He plays a lot with Zach Funk, and also all of his production is not coming from the power play. He had like only 6 goals, I think, on the power play right now, while Zach Funk has something like 20-something goal on the power play. So yeah, overall, he's a good shooter and very good at reading the plays and anticipating them and placing himself in the right place, finding the open space on the ice, the pocket of space, and just jump into there and just release a shot. He's not a playmaker. His strength is really not to have the puck on his stick. His strength is really to be without the puck and place himself. A bit like Cole Eiserman in some sense, but not exactly the same way. Like, Cole Eiserman is much better with the puck on his stick. But just to make like a quick comparison of like the type of player that they just like to jump into space, send a shot, score, their job is done. Like, that's about what Terik Parascak does. He does it at a pretty high level. He's not necessarily like I said, like a bad passer, but it's never gonna be his primary assets. He precipitate the plays a little bit too much. when he has the puck on his stick, like I said, he's better without it. He's going to need to work on the skating because it's not fluid. It's not great. But there's like every year, there's always players like that have good offensive skills, good offensive production, but need to work on their skating. So every year it's like, is he the next Point? Is he the next Jason Robertson? We don't know, but I wouldn't say that Terik Parascak is the next Jason Robinson, but he's a smart player that has a good shot, that has good hands, and his skating is not that far off. It's still decent skating. It's just that it needs work to at least to get to the NHL level. So yeah, that's what I have to say for Terik Parascak at number 27, and at number 6. At number 26, I have Becket Sennecke. A player that I really, really like, actually. Like, he's lower than what I would like to put him, but he hasn't shown that he can be that player yet. But you can see it coming because every time I watch him, he's the one that stands out. Even when I watched like the top prospect game a couple weeks ago, he was one of the standout on the ice, and it's always like that. You watch a game to watch another player in the OHL, and the player you see is Becket Sennecke. And one of the reasons for that is just how good of a handler he is. He has one of the best set of hands in the draft. I'm pretty sure of that. He can really make you miss with those hands. It's crazy. Like, he can really, really create all kinds of misdirection and fake all kinds of things, and he does it super fast, very, very fast hands, very precise hands. It's probably his main asset. But you pair that with the fact that he's 6'2" and he skates quite well for his size, and not just for his size, he skates quite well. That's it. He's a good skater and he handles the pucks really well. So that's why that every time you see a guy that's 6'2", skates well, have hands like that, kind of stands out, no matter who you're watching, right? So he's also a good passer with good vision. But the reason why I have him still at number 26 instead of having him like in the teens or something, it's more because he's very individualistic. That's a hard word for me. But like, he doesn't involve his teammate that much, and that's gonna need to, like, that's never ever gonna work at the NHL level. He cannot do what he does in the OHL. He cannot do it in the NHL. It's not gonna work. So if he cleans that up and he uses teammates and he stop trying to dangle every player and go one-on-one on every single player on the opposing team, there's a real player there. But if he keeps doing that, he's never even gonna reach the NHL. So there's a question mark there, but the talent is obvious. Like, he had, like I said, some of the best hands in the draft. 6'2", skates well, good vision, good passer. So there's a lot to like there, but he has to clean that up absolutely, or he's not even gonna make it. So that's a wait and see. But I think he's one of the candidates that's gonna go up in my list by the end of the year because he's just that good. But at the same time, I need to see if he gets better. I need to see if he involves his teammates more, and just little little give and goes, and more passes to them, and more jumping into open space to receive a puck, redirected to another one. So just that way, he would have more points than what he have now. I think he's like basically a point per game right now. If he involved his teammate more and stop jumping into other players to go one-on-one all the time, he would have more points than what he have now. So, like I said, it's a wait and see. So, Becket Sennecke at 26. And at number 25, I have Emil Hemming, and he's another question mark. He's a big frame guy. He's like 6'2", 6'3". He's a decent skater. It's not a great skater, but he's good enough, I would say. Very good skills all around. Very good shooter. He finds a space, he jumps into the space, and he quickly releases the puck. And it's always hard and heavy. Even his catch and release, the way he can just catch the puck and in one smooth motion release it. And like I said, it's hard and heavy on every shot. He also goes into traffic to shoot, and he has the hands to keep the puck away and shoot in tight spaces. So that's really good. But the thing is that his production in Liga is very underwhelming, which brings question. I feel like every year there's this guy in Liga where like he's underwhelming. Like there was Brad Lambert. We've seen coming Brad Lambert for years, and then all of a sudden he was bad in Liga. And same thing for Kasper Aaltonen. He was bad in Liga, but those guys, they jump to the CHL and all of a sudden they can score at will. So I don't know. Is it the same thing for Emil Hemming? It's possible. I think it's something around that because like he's very toolsy and he has very good skills all around. So I think, I think it could work if he jumped to another league, an easier league. Maybe he's just not ready to play against men. Sometimes it's more physical, even though he's bigger. Maybe he just can't make it work that way. I saw him this summer at the Linka Gritzky. He was really, really good. I think he was the best player on Finland. I don't remember how many points he had. I think he had, just let me check 2 seconds. He had 9 points, 4 goals in 5 games. So yeah, I remembered well. He was pretty good in the Linka Gretzky this summer. He recently played in the U20s where he got, I think, 2 points, but yeah, his ice time was like barely 10 minutes. So I don't know what you expect him to do with 10 minutes. But anyway, he didn't look great in those 10 minutes. But at the same time, it's hard to get into the rhythm of the game if all you get all the time is 10 minutes. Like, you can't expect your fourth liner on your team to get into the rhythm of the game and then be good, and it doesn't work that way. You got to be on the ice. You cannot just be jumping on the ice for 25 seconds, go back on the bench for 5 minutes. It doesn't work that way. Players need more ice time, especially the offensive players. They need ice time to be impactful player. And I think that's one of the reasons why he wasn't that great. So anyway, the future will tell us what he's going to be. I think the tools are definitely first round material in the sense that, like I said, he's a big guy. He skates well. He has good hands. He can shoot. He can find the pocket of space. He can shoot in traffic. He goes to the net. But he's missing a few things. Like first, he's not a great playmaker, and I feel like he's missing some competitiveness. Like, I don't know, is it because he's playing against men, he's not comfortable that way? Or is it really like he needs to be more competitive? I don't know. He doesn't go into battle that much and he doesn't win much battles anyway. But anyway, like I said, future will tell us what it's going to be with him. But like the tools are first round material. Now, can he put it together? You know, like that analogy where you have a lot of tools, but do you have the toolbox to put your tools in? I don't know. We'll see. But he's a June birthday. So he's pretty young overall. So there's a chance for him to catch up. You know, all the players that are born in the summer, sometimes they're like they've played 1 year less, or not necessarily all the time like that though. But anyway, he's a young player. All right, so that might help him. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, so Emil Hemming at number 25. And at number 24, I have yet another question mark. I have Aron Kiviharju. I left him out of my preseason top 10 because his game in Liga last season didn't really match the hype that was built around him. But only based on the body of work of Kiviharju, I think it's enough to rank him in the first round. What he's built throughout the years is amazing. So even though now it's not as much anymore, I mean, the guy was a point per game in the U18s in his draft -2 season. So there's always that. And I think even last year in his draft -1, he was over a point per game. So overall, he's a very, very good puck mover from the back end in his own zone or from the blue line in the offensive zone. He can really, really move the puck. He's a good passer and he knows how to find the lanes, know how to move to get that defense moving and create lanes. Create misdirections to send the stick of a player one way so he can pass in the lane that he just created. So he's really good that way. I wouldn't say, like, he's a good skater. I wouldn't say that he's a speedster, but he's very, obviously, like, he's nimble. He's nimble and very agile in his skate. Like, he looks light on his skate. The fact that he can really play with his feet and his stick to make you miss. So in the offensive zone, that's going to be really good. It's a bit like, I always say like they look like Lane Hutson, but he doesn't look like Lane Hutson at all. But it's just he's the guy that does it at an extreme. So everybody that can actually play with their feet and their stick at the same time and look light on their skate, I say they look like Lane Hutson, but it's not actually the case. But I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say, is that the guy is very good at making you miss using his stick and using his skating, faking one way, going the other. That's what I'm trying to say. The problem will always be the fact that he's a 5'10", maybe 5'11" now. I don't know, but he's a 5'10" guy. So defending in zone is probably going to be an issue. I can't see him boxing out players around the crease. That's for sure. And I think he's a solid enough skater to be able to defend against the rush. But I didn't like what I've seen last season. So this season I haven't seen anything. So I don't know. But for what I've seen last season, it was not great. So I'm excited to see when he comes back, what it's going to look like. I'm excited to watch a couple games from him and actually make a full scouting report on him, because I've been waiting for years to make that scouting report. And yeah, so let's see where it goes. When he comes back, I'll have a much clearer idea. I wanted to have him in my first round because, like I said, of the body of work that he's created throughout the years. But I have no information of where he is right now. But last year, he was not where I thought he would be. But yeah, there's that. So number 24, small defenseman, Aron Kiviharju. At number 23, I have Sacha Boisvert. And if Sacha puts it all together, I think that we have a real player. Like, the thing is that when you take all of his tools, he has NHL size with plenty of room to grow. Like, the guy is 6'2", but he's not really that big, so he can grow a lot. He has NHL speed, he has NHL hockey sense, and he has NHL shots. So when you take all those tools, that's enough to get you going, right? I've seen a lot of people saying that he lacks competitiveness, and I completely disagree with that, because the game that I've seen, he was all over the ice. Defensively as well as offensively, but he was making plays from the outside in, as well as positioning himself between the dots for a quick shot like himself. I think he's a better shooter than a playmaker, but he can absolutely do both. But obviously with the shot that he have, you want him to shoot, right? He's very good at keeping the puck away and using his body and his stick handling to shield the body between the defender and himself. Very good, like, puck protection guy. The production isn't really that great in USHL. He's on par with players like Shane Pinto and Matthew Nyes or Trevor Moore, players like that. So not stars, not high-end producer player, but players that will really help you along the line, right? Matthew Nyes is an exceptional player. Well, he's going to become an exceptional player. Shane Pinto is he's part of the core in Ottawa. So if he can become a player of that type, I mean, what else do you want, right? So given the good but not great production, but he has the frame and basically every tool being average to maybe over average, he has the making of a future like middle six player or maybe top six player. It's hard to say from that point on because of the production, but he needs to grow into his body and he needs to mature his game a little bit, involve his teammates, clean his decision making offensively and defensively. But if he does, like I said at the beginning, we've got a real player there. So number 23, we have Sacha Boisvert. And at number 22, I have Andrew Basha. And let me tell you something. Andrew Basha is the real deal. I've seen so many people talk about like Andrew Basha is the product of Kanan Lindstrom. And man, I just couldn't disagree more. He's like the fabricator of Kanan Lindstrom's goal. No, maybe not to that extent, but he's the brain, he's the facilitator on almost every play. He's unremarkable, yet he's very, very, very effective as a player. I'm not saying that he's out there breaking down defense system on his own, but he's how can I say that? Like, he's a quick redistribution type of guy, a link in the offense, which is basically what I said of Perrault in the last draft. Like, he's the player that you want to receive the puck, redistribute the puck, because he takes clean and quick decision every time he has the puck on his stick, or every time he's getting the puck, he knows exactly where the puck is going before he gets it. So he's just a very smart guy overall. The guy he's not a guy that will do everything on his own. He's not going to lead the rush or walk through defenders and all this thing. He's not, I can't say that. He's nothing stands out in his game really that much. Okay, so it sounds boring the way I'm saying it, but I don't mean it that way. It's just that it doesn't stand out. Like every grade I would give is like something average to above average. Like nothing really stands out. But like I said, he's the guy that you want to receive the puck and redistribute, because he's just very good at facilitating. I don't even know if that's a word, but very good facilitator. Okay, so there's that. He's not a big guy, but he's solid overall. His game doesn't really get disrupted from contact, so he can go in the middle, or he can go around the board and just like play from the outside in, or get the puck from the outside, bring it in, or pass it in. He's like I said, he doesn't get disrupted from contact. I'm not sure why I'm trying to go this long on that. It's pretty easy to understand. All right, he tracks back on defense. He skates hard on the forecheck. He's actually pretty good. I think the routes that he takes on forecheck, he really creates all kinds of pressure when he does it. Overall, just a complete player in my opinion. I like him quite a lot. I think like Lindstrom has benefited from his smart playmaking as much as he has benefited from Lindstrom's ability to score and make space on the ice. So who has benefited more? I don't know, but Andrew Basha is not the product of Caden Lindstrom, that is for sure. And like I said, he's the real deal. If you get Andrew Basha at number 22, you should be pretty happy, I think, because he's a serious player. All right, so Basha number 22. And at number 21, I have Adam Jiricek, and now that I have to talk about him, I'm not sure why I have him number 21. After like building my list, when you build a list, if you're an overthinker like me, the thing is you build your list and you think so hard about different stuff and blah blah, and then you just forget one, and that happens to be Adam Jiricek. I have him at number 21, but he could be further down the list. I wouldn't have any problem with that, because honestly, I haven't liked his game in a little while. I liked him this summer at the Linka Gretzky, and I really liked him at the U18s last summer. When was it? I don't remember. By the way, I really liked him when he played at the U18 last year. But outside of that, I never really liked. I feel like he's riding on the name of his brother. I'm not sure if that's a thing in the NHL, but I feel like it's a bit the way it is. But there's also the fact that he's a big right shot defenseman. That sure helps, but he's like 6'2". So yeah, anyway, he's very toolsy. He has a long reach. He's a good skater. He has decent vision, decent shot. So he has the tools to be a successful NHL player, but he hasn't been productive in a while. And it's a bit hard to envision him becoming anything more than a defensive or shutdown defenseman that can also have a great first pass, right? But if he puts all the tools together and he works on the decision making and the speed of execution, he has the potential to be a top 4 defenseman. It's gonna take some time in my opinion, but he's well-rounded. He's a better skater than his brother ever was or ever will be. So yeah, I think NHL GMs cannot pass on a big toolsy right shot defenseman, but he is not my type of defenseman unless he plays like he played at the U18s. If he becomes that in the NHL, he grows into that, I think then there's real potential. But the thing is that I haven't seen that in quite some time, so it's hard to. Yeah, so I know you're checking number 21, but I don't think he deserved to be there. So yeah, there's that. And at number 20, I have Ryder Ritchie, and he's one of those guys that I just don't understand. He was in my preliminary top 10 before the season started, and I'm not sure what went wrong, because even when you watch him, it's still obvious that the skills is there. It's obvious the way he combines his feet and the way he combines his hands together to make you miss, create all kinds of misdirection, create all kinds of space on the ice for himself and for others. Even though he's more of a playmaker than a shooter, he's really good at creating for himself also. But it's not working. If I'm not mistaken, he's under a point per game right now. Let me just check 2 seconds. I had already opened the page. Yeah, he has 31 points in 34 games. It's not excellent. It's not looking so good. I still have him in my top 20 because I believe in the skill, but the thing is that something's going to have to work at some point because he's an average size guy. He's not really that heavy and he doesn't play that heavy either. So he doesn't have that on his side. It's not like he's an extremely skilled athlete or anything like that. He's very, very skilled. He has good vision, good passing skills, but he's not like a big guy or anything like that. He's a very good handler. He's very imaginative, like the way he uses his hands and his feet to make you miss. It's like it's obvious when you watch him, but anyway, I'll just say he finds ways to make plays on basically every rush, but it doesn't always work. Is it because of the teammate? I can't say that. I don't want to always blame the teammates. I think it's a little bit on him too. But yeah, there's that. He's also a very good shooter. Like he's not. He doesn't have that many goals, obviously, but he shoots really well, and he doesn't always shoot from the perimeter. He's not scared to go where there's traffic and where it's hard to shoot the puck, which is good. That's really. It's much easier to project a player who plays in the middle of the ice than a player that always plays on the perimeter. I think he's a perimeter passer because he doesn't really go inside to create and pass. He likes to stay on the perimeter, attract players on himself, create space inside, send the puck inside. But when he shoots, he goes to the inside, so that's one good thing. So, yeah, all this to say that I can't really wrap my head around the production. I don't understand, like the tools and the games that I've watched suggest much better production, but it's not there. So it's still in my top 20, but he could very well slide to the end of the first round or even outside of the first round if this keeps going by. I think he's injured. Yeah, no, I know he's injured, but I don't know what he's injured with. If I put the cursor on, it doesn't work. Okay. So anyway, he's injured. All right. We'll see in the future if it goes better, but he's one of those candidates that could very well slips, even though I wouldn't like that because, like I said, I had it in my top 10 before the season started, and I think he's extremely skilled, but not extremely, but he's very skilled. He has everything to make it work, but it's not working. So we'll see. Ryder Ritchie at number 20. We'll see where it goes. And at number 19, I have Luke Misa, and from what I'm understanding, he's a very divisive. Is it divisive or divisive? I don't know. But there's people like Bob McKenzie who has him somewhere in the third round, which is, I don't know, that's crazy to me. But anyway, and there's other people like Smart Scouting or the Hockey Network who has him at number 11. So the gap for Luke Misa is humongous. Like some people really believe in his skill set. Some people don't believe in it at all. I don't know which one it's going to be. But it's a bit like Riley Hyde last season. Like most people, well, not most, but a lot of people had him in their first round. And he was picked very late. I think it was in the third round. I think so. I'm not sure. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So let me just get to my page. Yeah. So Luke Misa's production is about what I was expecting for Ryder Ritchie. You see, if he had that kind of production, I would have Ryder Ritchie higher than when I have him. But he doesn't. So he's not. But anyway, the production is pretty good. It slowed down a little bit recently, but then it just picked back up in the last couple of games. I think in the last 2 games he has 3 or 4 points or something like that. So it's going pretty good. But anyway, I'm a big believer in his game. I'm a big fan of his game. If you watch a top prospect game in the last couple of weeks, he was one of the standout. He was all over the ice making plays all around, pushing the pace. That's basically the name of his game. But he was just, he was a standout. I mean, I'm not even trying to put in my standout video because I was so sick. I had fever. I watched the game. I was dying. And I just wanted to make a video about it. But then, I don't even remember the video because I was so sick. But anyway, look, Misa, I remember he was all over the ice in that game. So, like I was saying, he's a very, very good skater. He's probably one of the best skater in the draft, if not the best skater in the draft. He's constantly pushing the pace. He's always making plays at top speed. But one thing that I don't like is, like, for other Habs fans, we now have New Hook, right? And New Hook is like that. He's always pedal to the metal. There's no like variation in their speed. He's a guy that you just boom, explode with his speed, and then he's going to try to beat you from the outside. And you would like to see Misa not do that. You would like to see him use his explosion to get by coverage by slowing down a bit and catching players flat-footed, or just playing with his speed a little bit to, when you play with your speed, it gets the defender slowing down. It creates gaps between you and the player, and if you're an explosive skater and a fast skater, you can explode past him, and you just got like free space. So you should use that, but he's not like that for now. He's really pedal to the metal, like Newhook, and that's not my favorite type of good skating player. All right. Offensively, he does most of everything very well without standing out. Like, he has a good shot, but he doesn't score much, but he has a good shot. He has good hands. He has good vision, but the skating is integral to his offensive game, and that might be an issue in the sense that in the NHL is like the gap that he created with the skating that he has in the OHL. It might be very different at the NHL when people are capable to cover him and when capable to match his speed. So I don't know if when you lose that advantage, that fraction of a second advantage, he will always be a better skater than most player. But if he lose that fraction of a second that makes him capable to create off the rush all the time by pushing the pace, is he still going to be capable to do it at the NHL level? That's the part that I'm not sure. So I think he fits really well at number 19 because there's a small question mark, but everything else is obvious. Like, it's not a big question mark. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and also physically, he's not a big player. He's 5'10" if I'm not mistaken. And he's also very light, and you can see it when he plays. Like, he can be like moved with one arm very easy, a little push, and he's off. So he needs to get bigger and get stronger so he can play heavier on with the puck. But not at the expense of losing his jump and his skating, because you want him to keep doing what he's doing, which is pushing the pace and pushing the defense back, creating open gaps for his teammate. You want him to be able to distribute the puck into open space that he created by pushing the pace and getting those defense back. So if you lose that by being too heavy, then it doesn't work, right? So he's got to find like that fine line where he's heavier and he can be heavier on the puck and he can play heavier, but at the same time, he cannot lose the jump in his skating, which is his biggest advantage. So, yeah, that's what I think of Luke Misa. Honestly, I would love him. Now that the Habs have 2 picks, one later, and if there's a chance that Luke Misa drops like to the end of the first round, I would love to have that guy because I don't know, it's just pretty good and really fun to watch too. And I think there's big potential, but there's a small question mark. So, fits really well. Luke Misa at number 19. It's really good. And at number 18, I have Nikita Artamonov, and really there's no denying what he's been doing in the KHL and doing it on a decent team, actually. He's been playing like 14 minutes and about 2.5 minutes of power play time in average, and he does that on a KHL team in his draft eligible year. It's not something that happens every day or almost never, really. So that's pretty good. He's another one of those guys that has a lot of skills and like does everything well, but doesn't have really a skill that stands out. I would say that maybe for Artamonov, the skill that stands out the most would be his compete, the way that he competes in all 3 zones and he just never stops. So, yeah, but outside of that, he's a good skater and he likes to play at pace. He's not a guy, he creates more off the rush than he does when he's established in zone. He's very competitive, like I said, and he plays in the middle of the lane. He doesn't like to play on the outside because anyways, it's not like he's a gifted passer or anything like that. So his place to be is in the middle if he wants to be able to produce at the NHL level. Because from the outside in, it might not work because he doesn't have the soft skills to send those pucks through legs and through sticks and all this good stuff. All right. Other than that, he has good hands. He's strong on the puck. Even in a men's league, he's not easy to strip the puck from or even get the puck when you pin him on the board. He's not the biggest, but it doesn't seem to bother him like one bit. Actually, when you watch him play, he throws the body and he goes into the corners and he goes to the board and he tries to win every battle that he goes in. It's not like he's doing it just to look good. He's doing it to win. So that's a really good thing, right? Outside of that, he competes hard on defense too, not just offensively, but really like in all 3 zones. To me, when I watch him, he's like built in that Arturi Lehkonen mold, like the type of guy that just never give up on play and just works hard in all three zones. He's going to work hard defensively. He's going to track back. He's going to back check. He's going to apply pressure from the back. He's going to, like, he's not going to be a guy that's going to be easy to play against. Even though he's not big, he's not going to be easy to play against because he's going to apply all the pressure that he possibly can. And offensively, he does this. He does the same, and he does all the things that you don't expect a guy of that size to do. Is it gonna work in the NHL? I don't know that part, but it did for Arturi Lehkonen, and he's kind of built in that mold. So I think that he should, right? I don't see him like a big point producer in the NHL because, like I said, he has skills, but it's not something that stands out. And when your skill that stands out the most is your compete, it's not looking that great for point production, but it's looking very well for being a dependable player that's being put on every situation. Like, you're going to play in the middle six or even the top six if you're good enough. You're going to play on the PK. You're going to be out in every important situation on the ice, and that's a very, very important player that you need on your team. There's a reason why Colorado went to acquire Arturi Lehkonen is because they knew how important that guy would be to win a Stanley Cup, and they actually did. He's not the main reason why they did, but he was a player that really helped them do it. So I think Nikita Artamonov can be the same type of player. Maybe not as skilled. I don't know. Actually, it's hard to say. Arturi Lehkonen was not that skilled in his draft year, so it's hard to say. But it's something in that mold, all right? So I think at number 18, if you get a guy that will play in every important situation on the ice and will help you win and will do all the right thing and be very dependable for your coach, I think that's a win, even though he produced more as a secondary offensive player and not like a big point producer in the NHL, all right? And at number 17, I have Igor Chernyshov, and I think I'm going to change my plan. I was going to go through this whole thing in one go, do the 32 players, but the thing is that I'm at number 17 and we're about 45 minutes in. So that would be like an hour 30 to maybe 2 hours, depending on how much babbling that I do. So I don't know if I can keep you guys interested for that long, or even if you guys want to listen to me for that amount of time. So I think that splitting it in half and seeing the stats for the first 45 minutes, 50 minutes is going to help me understand like how much you want to listen to that. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you. But what I'm saying is that I'm going to stop it there. I'm going to do number 17. And I'm going to release the next one next week. No matter what the stats are, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put the other one next week anyway. And with a scouting report, actually. So you're going to have both next week. That's cool. And yeah, so Igor Chernyshov, another Russian KHL guy, and another one that I had in my preliminary top 10 before the season. He jumps between the KHL and the MHL basically every 2 weeks. He doesn't play as much as Artamonov. He plays something around like 8 minutes on average and barely anything on the power play. But still, he's playing in the KHL and he's playing on a top team. So, I mean, that means something. He's a big guy. He skates well. He isn't a flashy player by any means, but he has good all-around skills. I think he has good moves one-on-one. Like, he has pretty decent hands. He plays hard and he's physical. Like, if he dumps the puck in, he's gonna go get it. He's not like dump and skate away. He's dump and chase. He drives the middle with his stick down, but he can also make plays from the outside. But when he's inside, he's really quick with his shot, and he's, like I said, he's going in with his stick down, trying to deflect puck or like create chaos in the middle of the ice where you want to be. He's a very complete type of forward. He's very involved in all three zones. He plays hard defensively. He plays hard offensively. In the neutral zone, in transition, he uses a lot of give and goes and a lot of straight line speed in the neutral zone to get the puck going. He back checks and he pressures the point well in the defensive zone. So overall, he just does a little bit of everything really well. Offensively, he beats his coverage with his hands or with his skating, and he pushes the defense back in the offensive zone. He can either like make plays with short 5 or 10 foot passes and reposition for a shot and finish the play, or he can also stand on the outside and send the puck inside because he has the skills to open space and send the puck between legs and sticks. So like I said, and I said it for the 5th time, it's like he's a very complete player that does a lot of things. really, really well. I think that actually, if he was like a good old Canadian boy, he'd go pretty high in my opinion, because he's the type of player that that teams love, because not only does he have the skills, but he also has the size, because he's like a 6'2" guy, but he has the power too. He plays heavy. He plays heavy on his stick. He's on the puck. He's over the puck, and you're not getting the puck from him. But he also gets the puck. So he goes in corner, he goes on the board, and he wins battles. And he goes with his buddy. He gets buddy positioning every time he goes in a battle. So yeah, overall, just a powerful guy with size and with skills. So I mean, a lot of teams love that. I love that. I know that. So I would pick him at number 17. That's for sure. But yeah, overall, like not somebody that stands out with the flashy plays, like I said, but he's a guy that really works hard and does everything well in all three zones. So yeah, that's it for Igor Chernyshov, number 17. And next week, we're going to start, obviously, at number 16. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's a first. It's going to get better. Maybe I'm going to do less. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to say, less. I don't know. Maybe it's going to get better. Maybe you won't. I have no clue. But I'm going to see where this goes. And next week, I'm going to release the other part of it that I'm going to need to record now or over the weekend. And I'm also going to release a scouting report on, I won't say. All right. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. See you next one. Peace.